Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Multifamily Monday. My name is Jesse Greer, the Vice President of Multifamily and Investments at Avis & Young, and today I'm in the offices of Johnson Perkins Griffin with a very special guest, Sarah Fye. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. I think we're going to have a fun conversation today. We're going to discuss a little bit about appraisal in the multifamily market, when we're going to talk about the hot and sought after quarterly report that Sarah puts out. And this one's especially special because it is for the CCIM forecast. Yeah. So before we get started on that, Sarah, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you. Tell us about yourself and Johnson Perkins Griffin.
My name is Sarah Fye. I have been working here for just over 4 years. Johnson Perkins Griffin, previously Johnson Perkins & Associate was started back in 1976. We're the largest appraisal firm here in Northern Nevada. And we currently have 5 appraisers working in the office as well as an appraiser intern. I personally just got my certified general designation a few months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I also hold an MBA from the University of Nevada. And I don't know if there's anything else you'd like.
Oh, I'm sure there
discuss,
is. Absolutely. So when you look at Johnson Perkins Griffin, not only do they do appraisals for multifamily, but you guys do appraisals across the board, right? Give us some examples of different engagements that you've worked with.
We cover just about anything other than single family residences here in our office. So anything from vacant land to office buildings, multifamily, pretty much anything you can think of. We do a lot of right-of-way work, easements, that type of thing for different government agencies. Just pretty well-rounded.
Yeah. So it sounds like Johnson Perkins Griffin basically does the whole gamut of appraisals.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at this firm, it's been around for quite some time, and it also holds the highest designations that you could get in the Appraisal Institute, which is
Correct.
an MAI certification, right?
Yes.
Now, what does that stand for?
It's a member of the Appraisal Institute, and basically the designation comes directly from the Appraisal Institute, and it is the highest designation you can hold as an appraiser.
And that's what you're pursuing right now?
Correct.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So not only do they do just about every type of appraisal in the market, including multifamily, but they have all the highest designations or pursuing the highest designations in the appraisal industry.
Correct.
So one of the exciting things that we get to talk about today is a report that you've put out for quite some time now. Right?
Yep.
This is almost your baby, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's someone else's baby originally because they've been working on it, I believe, since the 90s, maybe even further back than that.
Yeah.
But I started working on it as soon as I joined the firm, and I've handled it ever since. So I do feel like it is my baby because I spend a lot of time on it. And yeah, it takes a lot of effort.
It does take a lot of effort, I'll tell you that much right now, consolidating all the information that you consolidate. In fact, this report is even talked about in different publications. I know the Reno Gazette-Journal has quoted you in this report in regards to other news agencies as well.
Yeah, I think a couple quarters ago we were quoted in the Wall Street Journal. And actually, one of the other appraisers in our office, Cindy Fogel, just told me this morning that it is quoted on the HUD website as well. So
fantastic. So not only do you have local presence, but national as well when it comes to this report for the Reno Sparks market. Now let's dive into this report. So basically, what is it?
So we survey. Basically, this quarter we hit 92 apartment communities here in the Reno Sparks area. All of the apartment communities that we include in our survey have at least 80 units. So we're not covering the smaller properties, but all of the larger multifamily properties in the region that are market rent properties. So we do not include affordable housing. We don't include senior or student housing either. And right now we have, as I mentioned, 92 communities participating, and that totals 22,893 units.
When it comes to the third quarter for 2019, what are some of the highlights that you have?
So we have total average rents of $13.45 per month. So that increased only by $1 over the second quarter 2019. And then we saw a pretty steep jump in vacancies from 2.67 in the second quarter to 3.31% in the third quarter.
3.31%.
Yep.
Oof, interesting. Now you're still trying to rack your head around why the significant increase in vacancy.
Yes. I know the last 3 years we've seen vacancies jump from the second quarter to the third quarter. So I expected to see an increase, but it is a little bit more drastic than I would have anticipated. We did add 2 new properties into the survey, which reached stabilization in over the course of the third quarter. I don't think that those properties really played too much into the increase because they're both operating at around 95% occupancy. So I don't think that those 2 properties alone really
contribute to it.
Yeah, I don't think that they caused that major jump, but we did see a lot more properties offering concessions, which means that maybe they're having a little bit harder of a time getting people to rent at these high rental rates. And that probably explains why we didn't see much of an increase on the average rent.
Interesting. So when you talk about concessions, have the concessions jumped substantially from the last quarter as well?
Yes. I don't have the exact percentage in front of me right now, but this quarter we have 18 out of the 92 projects offering concessions. And the concessions that I was seeing this quarter ranged from, I saw some that were like a full month free on a certain unit type. So maybe like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom wasn't renting as well as the other floor plans. So they offered a free month on that if somebody was going to sign a lease on that unit type specifically. That one wasn't as common, but a more common one that I saw was like $500 off your first month's rent if you signed a lease the same day that you went in to look at the apartment.
And traditionally, how long are those leases that they require if you get a concession?
12 months. And then I did see another concession that came up this month where they were offering, I can't remember exactly what it was, but some sort of a discount if somebody signed a 13-month lease.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you track not only the Reno Sparks market, but you track the sub-markets within there.
Yes.
Now, how many sub-markets consist of the Reno Sparks market with your report?
Right now we are tracking 11 different sub-markets. Really, if you look at our map, really there's only 10 specific market areas. But over the last couple of years, we've started to see an increase in urban housing in the downtown markets. So while the downtown markets are actually part of a bigger submarket, we're kind of honing in on the more like downtown centric urban like loft style housing because those properties are charging a higher rent, and so we wanted to kind of extract them from the markets that they were in so you could see them on a separate basis.
So does that include student housing as well?
It does not. Our survey does not have any student housing.
So completely market rate, traditional multifamily housing?
Yep.
Okay. So when you look at the 10, or I guess 11 different sub-regions that you track, which one popped out the most as it pertains to the numbers itself?
I would say that area 10, which is like basically it's the South Reno market. They always are going to be a little bit higher, and then also we see higher rents in the East Sparks submarket as well. I can look here real quick.
And my assumption while you're looking is that when you look at East Sparks, there's a lot of new developments that are coming online or hitting lease-up phases trying to push the price points for that market, and that's probably one of the reasons why.
Yeah, so again, this quarter, Area 4, which is the East Sparks submarket, did have the highest average rent. And there are a couple of properties out there, Caviata and Waterstone, which were built as condo projects but are leased as apartments. They have very big units and they achieve really high rents. So I think that those two properties do kind of bolster the East Sparks market. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of new development over there. New properties still actually in lease up too, but just they get really high rents over there. And then same thing with the South Reno market. There are a lot of new projects, Class A, very nice luxury communities that are getting very high rents. But then in that market, you also have some older properties too, which kind of bring the average down. So while some of the properties out there are probably getting the highest rents in the region, I think those older communities kind of drag their average down just slightly.
You mentioned that rental rates are getting to all-time highs.
Yep.
And affordability level is something that's constantly on the media, the news. I know the council members are taking a look at it, and it's really a hot topic right now. And the question that I pose to you is, how much more room for rent growth do you think these developers or existing owners have to continue to push rents?
Well, this quarter, seeing the vacancies kind of increase pretty drastically, and the rents stay basically what they were in the previous quarter, I think kind of shows that we might be reaching that point where we are limited on how much further we can push the rents. There's a lot of news out there. Basically, people are struggling to be able to afford rental rates here in the region, and it's hard to say exactly what we'll continue to see going forward, but I think that we've been kind of in that $1,200 to $1,300 range for a while. Last quarter we were at $1,344 a month for the average rental rate for all unit types surveyed. That was an all-time high. So this quarter at a $1 increase, $1,345 per month.
So we're hitting a high again.
Is a high again, yes.
But by $1.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Were there any other data points that popped out at you that would make sense to talk about?
Not in particular. I think the two main things that we like to look at are the average rental rates and then the average vacancy on a whole for the entire region, which we've discussed pretty thoroughly. I think that it is going to be interesting to see how things play out as more and more of these new construction properties come online. As I mentioned, we introduced 2 of them this quarter, and I would anticipate 2 more probably in the next quarter. And we have so many units currently under construction that we'll just continue to see new properties being added in. And not that it will happen immediately, but I do feel like we're going to reach a point at sometime in the future where that will start to impact vacancies and rents as well.
I agree. There does have to be an inflection point, but really it's a matter of when and how much, right?
Exactly.
Because when you look at the amount of new inventory coming online, it's a substantial amount. The majority of it is what Sarah's going to be tracking because it's going to be 80 units and above. That's the only thing that makes sense to build right now from a return perspective.
Yes.
So my guess is as you continue to get more product out there, assuming population growth is about the same, well, rents might go down a little bit and vacancies might pop up. But the biggest question is this, is what is our population growth going to be like? And then what is the median household income going to be? And is it going to grow with rents? Because as of now, we're not seeing that.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are struggling at the current average rents because it doesn't quite pencil with the median income.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, I know we discussed a lot today, Sarah, and I really appreciate your time. I know you're extremely busy, and it looks like you're about to have baby number 2, so congratulations.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again, and until the next time.
All right. Thanks, Jesse.
Have a good day.
You too.